Hello everyone and welcome back to another Figurehead Reviews video, and today we are taking a look at the Neca Alpha Predator. On the front of the box we get some very cool artwork here of the Alpha Predator, which is a original design by Neca for their 100th Predator figure special edition. Very cool looking. On the side, nothing special, we just see the Predator name, the Alpha Predator call out, and then again just the call out again that it is the 100th Predator figure and the special edition. And on the back we do have some product shots there of the Alpha Predator in various poses, looking very cool, and it does have a pretty long read up, so if you want to read that, go ahead and pause it now and you can read that. At the bottom we have the UPC code, so you can check with your local Target to see if they have this in stock. And of course, just like most Neca figures, you do have the box that opens up here, and we get another product shot revealed, and then of course we do have the actual figure there behind the plastic. Very cool looking, but enough about that. Let's get this open and take a look at the Alpha Predator. And here is the Alpha Predator outside of his packaging. Now, I'm certainly no authority on the Predator figures, as I only think I have 4 of them in my collection. However, I will say that this one, right out of the gate, the first thing I noticed is it felt much more posable than figures in the past that I've had. The ankle rocker that's on it seems to be much better. The torso and waist articulation seems to give some great movement. So, like I said, I'm not sure if they changed the body molds and things like that over time with the Predator figure specifically. I assume they do, and upgrade and things like that. But this one is an awesome figure, and I love the original concept that Neca did here with this. Just the first Predator who has wrapped himself literally in the carcass of his vanquished enemies, and I think that is a really cool concept, that would sort of be their first armor plating that they would wear, would be that of their prey. And I think that is really cool, really well done, and man, just hats off to Neca. They did a great job on this. Now, in addition to some of the great details and sculpt work here, which of course we're going to take a look at later, we did get some really good accessories here, plenty of weapons and alternate hands. So starting with our first set of hands, we got a pair of open gesture hands, a pair of fisted hands, and then finally a pair of gripping hands. And you can see the right hand does have the index finger sticking out a little bit further than it is on the left hand side, and that makes it a lot easier to hold that bone shuriken in it. And speaking of weapons, we get 3 of them here with the Alpha Predator. So starting first here, let's look at the spear. And we can see a very cool looking design here. So all of these being made from the carcass of the Amengi, which is the, of course, design from the original Predator that Jean-Claude Van Damme was going to portray in the movie. And that is basically what the inspiration was here, is they took that insectoid alien and just put it on top of what became the Predator that we know. But very cool looking bone spear here. You can see the vertebrae running down. Yeah, really cool. And it looks like this is meant to be probably a lower jaw. Just really well done. Very cool looking. I love some of the details on it. We even looks like have some blood there around the straps just left over from the killing. Man, really, really cool looking. A lot of great paint and good wash here just to really help bring out those details. I like that a lot. And then that brings us to the bone shuriken here, which is just, yeah, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. Maybe meant to be, I don't know, fangs or claws or something of the Amengi, but you don't really get the straps and stuff around it like we saw with the spear, and I think that kind of makes it sort of weird. Like, is it glued together? You know, I don't know. Having like the wraps or whatever go around it might have made this look, I don't know, a little bit more cobbled together. As it looks now, it kind of looks like a starfish. So, but still really cool looking, and I like the concept of some of the traditional Predator weapons just in a more base form here. So I still think that's a cool concept. And lastly, we get this sickle here, which looks pretty cool. I mean, I'm not sure exactly what part of the Amengi this is. You know, I don't know if they have a tail where, you know, like a scorpion tail kind of thing going on, or if this is just another, I don't know, claw, but still really cool looking. Now this one does have the wraps going down. You can see again a little bit more red there. We even see a little bit of the bone sticking out on the wrap there. So really cool looking, and some great design in the weapons just to, again, make it look like it was just ripped off the body of their enemy and turned into weapons to be used against them. Now, in addition to the accessories for the figure, you get some accessories for the collector. So the first being, if you happen to play the Predator Hunting Grounds game, you can get this code to unlock the Alpha Predator skin on the video game itself if you wanted to. And yeah, just instructions there, so very cool looking. Maybe I'll give this away. I don't play the game, so maybe I'll do some sort of giveaway or something for this. And then we get a read-up here, which is the history of this specific Predator, which is really cool, first of his kind of thing. I'll go ahead and have a still here so that if you want to read that, you can. And then we do get a poster here as well, which let me go ahead and open it up. The front side of the poster, or I guess I don't know what side, but it's just the same artwork from the box art. Boy, it's kind of hard to show off a little poster here, but you can see it's that same artwork, so very cool looking. And then on the reverse side, you actually get, since this is the anniversary, you get a visual guide here of all the Predator figures that have been released. And I think that is really cool, too, just to have that. So really cool of Neca to include just something for the actual collector themselves instead of just accessories for the figure. I think that is really neat. Now, when standing straight up, the Alpha Predator is coming in at 8 3/4 inches tall, which makes him about 22.2 centimeters. So, of course, Neca is the 7-inch scale, and this guy is no different. But again, very cool looking figure. So let's just jump in now and take a look here at some of that awesome paint and sculpt detail here on the Alpha Predator. And getting up close, we can see one of the last accessories that we get with the Alpha Predator, and that is going to be the face mask that we have here, made out of the Amengi shell. And man, that is really, really cool looking. I like that a lot. Very well done, and certainly if you've seen the behind-the-scenes footage for Predator, when Van Damme is in the costume there of what the original Predator was going to look like, this is a pretty accurate representation. So very cool shading going on. I like just the overall design. We get those big yellow eyes still that we would expect to see in a Predator mask, so very, very cool looking. Man, yeah, really well done. Now, this is not a separate head sculpt. This is just a pressure fit. You can see you have some tabs right here on the inside, and near as I can tell, they fit right around here above the brow. Now, that does leave us here, of course, with the actual Predator face sculpt, and man, that looks awesome. I mean, just really well done. You get a lot of subtle details there, these little yellow dots. All the great paint detail. We get some more pink around the mouth there. Just very cool looking. I love the mandibles, those eyes. Gosh, yeah, just really well done. And then looking at the dreads, so we get the straps holding some of the dreads in here in the front. We get what I guess this would be a ponytail. That would be the equivalent of ponytail. I don't think it's quite a man bun, but very cool looking dreads, and we get a lot of them. Really cool looking. Man, yeah, I can't get over that design. Now, one other thing I didn't really mention in the accessories, these two spikes here, the big ones, do come separate outside of the packaging. You have a little pocket here that you can see on this one, and that is going to allow you to slide in one of the spikes. And then on the other side, it's not quite as ornate. It's just literally a little piece with a hole in it. Let me see if I can get this to pop out. Yeah. Right there. So just a little piece with a hole in it, and you're just going to pop that back in. And you can spin them around if you want them to kind of align up. You can. If you want to spin them around, make them a little bit more asymmetrical, whatever, however you want to do it. You can make that any way you want, and that's really cool looking there. And then kind of looking at the armor again underneath. So some of the dreads are even going inside that armor on the back piece. Man, just looking at like the shells here, or rather the exoskeleton of the Amengi, really, really neat. And I mean, being an insectoid, though, would it really have all these bones? Not that it really matters, but still really cool looking. We get here what looks like is probably the skull of an Amengi, but it doesn't quite match up with the way some of the fangs are. Maybe, I don't know. That actually would have been really cool if the pressure clips could have gone on that. You could have had like a shield out of the helmet as well. That would have been cool. But either way, that's really cool. This is a loose piece, so if you take the hand off, you can take this piece off if you want. In fact, if you go back and look at some of my 360 shots, I didn't have this piece on for Just really aesthetic reasons. It looked better with him holding a weapon without that piece on. But man, look at some of that detail again there. Just the straps going throughout. Now I do like the kind of the tribal waist piece here. Looks like it's not necessarily meant to be part of the Amengi, because I doubt they have fur, but it does look like that is going to be a fur cloth going around, but we do see that it has some skulls in there. The belt, I assume, are those supposed to be teeth? Yeah, I think they might be teeth. They just go all the way around. Very cool looking. Huh. Is that meant for storage? I never really noticed that it had a loop there. Maybe you could slide the sickle down in there or something if you wanted to. Yeah, that actually looks like that could fit if you wanted to do that. That's kind of cool. I didn't even think about weapon storage with this guy. But yeah, really cool. Looking down this hand or this arm, we do have a representation of the classic Predator gauntlet, which is really cool. Looks like it's meant to be another lower jaw, similar to the spears, although it's a little bit different looking than what we saw with the spear. The spear, certainly a little bit more elongated, but whatever, it works. And this is on a little slide rail, so kind of like with the gauntlet there, you can have that come out. It doesn't really have a whole lot of range of motion, in all honesty, but it's still kind of a neat little addition. And it can kind of come out a little ways too, if you wanted it to. It actually comes off really easy. It's on these two little ball joints here, so it fits in fine. Same thing with this piece though here. Some shots I didn't even have this on there just because it was easier to be without it. And when you're without it, the ball joints aren't too bad, and then you even get like this little single spear instead, which is kind of cool. But looking down the rest of the figure, so we just see continuation there of the Amengi body parts being just on display here for the Predator, wearing it as armor. Man, really cool. The feet look a bit different there from the Predators that I'm used to. But again, this is meant to be, early version of a Predator. You got the little straps going all the way around the bottom. But man, they just did a really good job on this guy. And I think I have no difficulty imagining this as being sort of the first of his tribe. I think that is really cool looking. Now, I had mentioned the articulation, so looking at that articulation on this guy, so the head will swivel around probably more than I'm allowing it to. I just don't want the dreads to get all out of place, but you could move it around more than you need to. He can look up quite well from what I recall with some of the Predator figures, so I'm able to get some good like downward poses and things like that. He has some good side to side, so I mean, I didn't really have too much trouble putting the head where I wanted it. Looking at the arm, so the shoulder piece is attached up here, so it doesn't move with the arm. At least this piece doesn't. That piece you can see is molded on. So we get, that's about it. Not too bad. You would get full rotation, but he is going to hit the shoulder piece there. It'll still move. Now, there is no bicep swivel. Instead, we get a double-jointed elbow that has a swivel at the top and bottom of the joint. So you can see you can swivel it at the forearm, but you also see it swiveling right there. I guess you could almost call it a bicep swivel because it does make for a bit of a long elbow piece, which kind of looks a little bit weird when it's bent. That's kind of odd. But, I don't know, it's not that bad, and I think you're probably going to end up bending it a lot of the times only at one of the joints more than likely, so it's not too distracting. And then you're going to get some waist rotation and hinges on all of the hands. I do wish that one of the gripping hands here, I don't know, any of the gripping hands, had that ulnar and radial instead of the flexion and extension type of hinge. Just would have been kind of cool to have for the spear and some of the other weapons. But same thing on this side, of course, you get that same type of articulation. Now, looking at the waist, he does have a diaphragm joint there at the top, which you get some really good back and forth. I mean, just a lot of motion there. And this is a separate piece, which is nice so that you can get that motion. A little bit of a gap if you go back really far, but not too bad. And you can get, like I said, some pretty decent range there. And then he does have, you can see the waist moving a little bit as well. And that waist is going to help crunch and move around and swivel as well. So that is really cool. So you get the diaphragm joint there and you get some movement in that lower waist. The legs, I'm always scared to mess with the legs. It's about as far as I want to take them. I don't think you need to go too much further. I've had too many legs of my NECA figures break, so I don't want to mess with that. You do get some decent range forward and backwards there. You have, similar to the elbow joint, you have a rotation at the top there of the knee, and then you have, well, actually, never mind, I thought you had it down here at the bottom, but you don't. So you have the rotation there at the top, and then you do have, again, a long double jointed knee there, so still works really well. And then the ankle does have a bit more range than I've seen in the past, so you can get some better, leg spread apart poses. So it's still not like super, pivot or anything like that, but still looks really, really good. And that's going to do it for this review, everyone. And this review's already going longer than I wanted it to, so let me just say that, unfortunately, I don't collect a lot of the Predator figures. I was just really late to the game, so I just kind of get the ones that I really like, and I really like this one. I think it's a really cool original design. Its posability is really up there, and I could see this being kind of a posed with like a barbarian type theme to it. So like posing it with like a Conan or something like that would look really cool. I think just covered in this, the bones and everything just really makes me think of just a medieval warrior kind of look to it, I guess. So I do think this is a really cool figure, and I think it is worth picking up. But as I said, that is it for this review. If you like this review, hit that thumbs up. Subscribe for more content just like this. We're almost to 1,000 subscribers, so thank you for that. But as always, thanks for stopping by and watching my video, and have a great day.